Hey everybody, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today we'll be playing through Alone in the Dark for PC, the 1992 MS-DOS version. Technically not the 92 version, we're actually playing the one that came out a little bit later, and it's available on GOG. It's the PC CD-ROM version. We're actually playing this through DOSBox. So the PC CD-ROM version actually adds an updated soundtrack. That soundtrack was later used on the 3DO version of the game. And it also adds voice acting to pretty much all of the text, the written text in this game. So we're going to be skipping through a lot of that stuff over the course of the playthrough. I'm not going to let the voices play out and things like that. It just takes a long time. So I want this to be a sort of a short and sweet Let's Play, maybe 40-45 minutes tops. It should be about what it's going to take us to go through this game. But yeah, if you play this game for the very first time, I do recommend going through and reading all the texts that you find, because for one, the lore is very interesting in the game. It's got a lot of really interesting lore. But two, the texts in the game oftentimes give you solutions to various puzzles and whatnot that you'll encounter over the course of the game. So while a lot of stuff in this game is not obvious, if you are going through all of your texts and you're reading them, and you're taking the time to do that, you should be able to figure out a lot of this game on your own. So it's definitely one of those games where it can get a little cryptic at times, but as long as you're reading all those texts, you should be able to figure out most of the game. I don't even remember if I had to resort to a walkthrough when I played this back in the 90s. Like, I want to say that I managed to figure everything out on my own, which is crazy. Like, usually games like these, you know, I get stuck, or adventure games in particular, I get stuck, I need to, you know, use a guide to get through it. I'm impatient, I don't want to sit there playing a game for 15 hours because I'm stuck or I'm running around in circles and I don't know what to do. But I'm pretty sure Alone in the Dark I was able to figure out just about everything on my own back in the day, which is very satisfying and gratifying. So yeah, as long as you read those texts, you should be able to figure out a lot of the stuff in the game too. But if you're super lazy, you can just watch this playthrough and see all the solutions I'm going to show off. So yeah, we're going to go through the whole game. I'm going to show you how to get through everything, how to deal with all the situations and things like that. And I'll talk about very specific moments over the course of the game as we encounter them. So there's a lot of stuff to encounter in this game, a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm looking forward to doing this playthrough. A lot of times I just let I skip the introductions and whatnot, but this one is kind of an iconic intro. I love how Carnby just walks up to the loft. It basically shows off the various areas of the mansion that we're going to come back through again, except when we come back through, they're going to be populated, they're going to be monsters and demons and ghosts and all sorts of weird stuff happening. There's a lot of supernatural stuff that happens in this game, and I really love, you know, that aspect of this game's theme is the supernatural nature. It's not all just zombies or, you know, a virus or something like that. It's, you know, some wacky stuff that happens in this game, and I love it. It's great. So, alright, first thing of note here is now that we're in the loft, we want to go ahead and grab ourselves this oil lamp. We're going to be using that quite a bit over the course of the game. So I just double tapped forward there. That allows us to run. Now, the timing on the double tap is extremely strict, and so what you're going to see me do is fail to run a lot in the game. That is one improvement the 3DO version made, and I believe the Macintosh version as well. They actually have dedicated run buttons. This version does not. The original MS-DOS one does not. Funny enough, if you don't want to run because maybe you're struggling with activating it properly, you can actually just backstep. Your backstep is actually faster than your forward step, so you're gonna see me walking backwards a lot over the course of this playthrough as well. So Carnby, and subsequently your other character, the female character, she pretty much plays exactly the same. Has a bunch of different actions you can do. So you can do fights, you can do open and search, close, or push. So obviously we had to use the push function. Now we're going to use the open function and just activate that with the space bar. So we got ourselves a rifle. It comes preloaded with 4 bullets, or 4 rounds. Now if I wanted to, I can also search the piano here to get a letter, but we're not going to take that. We're going to go ahead and just leave it. So the reason I pushed the cabinet over is because a monster tries to bust through it. And likewise, a zombie tries to come up through that trap door. And by moving the chest on top of that, he can't do that either. So I'm going to go ahead and just move on down here. We're pretty much done with this room. Now, there is actually a bookshelf on the other side of the room, so there's a book you can get that'll give you some lore. So again, I do recommend reading that stuff if you're playing this for the first time. So we're going to go ahead and search this shelving unit right here to take ourselves the oil can. And what I'm going to do is actually use the oil can. And so that actually charges up the oil lamp. So now it's got 50 and it can go up to 100. And we're going to go ahead and just get rid of the oil can. When you're done using items in this game, you know you're not going to need them anymore. You want to get rid of them because you can become over encumbered. There is an inventory limit. So to keep yourself from reaching that limit, you want to go ahead and just get rid of the things that you don't need. So we're going to be cleaning up our inventory quite a bit over the course of the playthrough. And so what I want to do is come on over here, and we're going to open up this desk, and it's going to give ourselves a key. Now there's a fun little trick you can do here that I just learned about in my practice sessions earlier this week, prepping for this Let's Play. I can't talk right now. I'm very tired today, so if you hear me stuttering and things like that, it's because I'm just burnt out. Totally burnt out. But we're going to go ahead and use this key on this chest, which is going to give ourselves the old cavalry saber. Now we don't want to use that as a weapon. It will break on us. We have to use it on a puzzle later on in the game. So with this chair here, what you can do is actually get on the other side of it, and then the zombie actually won't be able to attack you. So I can kick him like this, and this is going to take probably 6 or 7 kicks. It takes a little while. It's a slow method, but it's a very safe method. And of course, if I wanted to, I could actually get the chair out of the way, use the rifle, and just shoot the zombie with the rifle. And there we go. We're going to get ourselves an actual sword later on in the game that won't break on us. So when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, I prefer just using that sword later on in the playthrough. And obviously I'll talk about that once we get it. But this is a great safe strategy for this first zombie that we encountered here. You'll find that the combat is a little janky. It takes a little while to get used to. So when you're in fight mode, you can hold down the space key. And Carnby goes into his fight stance. Left does a short punch, right does a long punch, and then up does his kick. Just like so. And let's go ahead and start a round of save files. So there we go, we just saved our game. That's one great thing about this game is if you think something's gonna kill you, save your game, and then try to activate it and see if it actually kills you. So. Or if you make a mistake, you know, you miss an enemy, you waste your bullets, you can just reload your game and try it again. So this is the only point in the game where we're going to close something. So we're going to go ahead and close this door. And the zombie can't get in. He'll actually just stay there for the whole playthrough. It's very funny. Someone on Twitch actually pointed that out, and so in one of my practice runs, I tried it out, and lo and behold, it does work. He just he sits there outside the room. And it's very funny. So what I'm going to do here is actually use the rifle. So let's get this prepped. Oh, and I missed, and I'm out of ammo. So I have to go into fight mode now. These are some of the worst enemies in the game because they're very aggressive. But what you want to do is try to get them cornered. And then walk up into their faces and just punch them back and forth. Go left, right, left, right, left, right. Yeah, so my rifle actually missed multiple times, which was frustrating, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and throw the vase. And what that does is gives us a key. So let's walk forward. There's the key. And we're going to use that key on this dresser. And inside this dresser are some mirrors. And we're going to go ahead and use those mirrors to take out some enemies that are outside here. But first we're going to go into the bathroom. There's actually a first aid kit in the bathroom. And it has a flask. And there's our zombie. He's trying to go into that room and he can't. He's just stuck there. He'll stay there for the whole playthrough. So let's go ahead and search this. There we go. And what we can do is actually open up the first aid case for the flask. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and just use the flask. Because I don't think there's actually a limit to how much health you can have. And so I just use the flasks right away. I don't save it. So you notice that my health is up to 27 now. So let's go ahead and throw the flask. Get rid of that. We'll go ahead and throw the empty first aid case, just like so. And I don't think there's anything else. Nope, I can throw the key. Again, you want to get rid of stuff that you don't need because you will become over encumbered, and you don't want that to happen. So, alright, we can actually go out now. And what's nice about this game is that when you walk into doors, they'll just open automatically as long as they're not locked doors. So you don't have to switch over to your open function over and over again. You can just walk into a door, it opens it automatically. Alright, so these gargoyles, we have to set these mirrors down, and it'll basically defeat them. And then they'll disappear. I love the sound effects in this game. Very otherworldly sound design. It's very creepy. And it's very it's always great playing this game around, you know, sometime in October when it's spooky season. So we don't want to touch this suit of armor. It will come alive and it will attack you. But we are going to destroy it to get its sword. Now there's also a specter in here. We don't want to touch her. Because if we do, it'll turn into this crazy form that's hard to describe, and it will chase you around the mansion until you're dead. So, yeah, you do not want to do that. I'm just going to walk backwards here, nice and slow. Let's go ahead and take the gramophone. Now, there's actually a matchbox on there. I don't need it. I'm going to get myself a lighter not too much longer from now. So, I'm just going to not use it at all. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to waste my time. There's also a poker in there, like a fireplace poker, but you don't need it. Now this room right here, you don't really need to come into either, but there is a notepad, so if you're all about that lore, you do want to grab the notepad and read it. Now, disclaimer, if you pick up the notepad, a monster spawns. So we don't want that monster to spawn, so we're going to go ahead and just not even touch the notepad. We're going to go ahead and save my game, and what I want to do is get running, like so, have them open the door. Now you can keep holding down the run button, and when you come out of that animation, you'll continue to run. Same with when you hit enter here and then continue holding up, you keep running. And actually, I failed. It's a good thing I saved it in case I die here. So we do want that. This guy has crazy reach, and he does a lot of damage. Yeah, he does 5 hit points. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up this first aid case, take that flask, and we're going to go ahead and use that flask. And this is going to be the health that we're stuck with for almost the rest of the playthrough. We do get some biscuits in the kitchen, which will give us 5 hit points back. But that's the last of the health refills that we get. So let's go ahead and get rid of that too. And we'll go ahead and use the cartridges. That'll actually reload our rifle. So the rifle now has 8 cartridges in it. And let's go ahead and leave that. And you'll notice that my health is at 37 now. So that's actually a lot of health in this game. Fun little trick here is normally you would want to use the matches to come into this dark room. You would light up this room. But I learned the other day that if you angle yourself properly here and you just walk backwards at an angle, you'll actually walk right into an item that you need, which is the very heavy statuette. So we'll take it and we'll leave the book, and then we just hold forward now. And then Carnby will just exit the room. So you actually don't need to use the lantern in there, the lamp. Let's go ahead and come on through here. Now this is kind of a bad place to leave those items. Like I'm gonna have to walk over them every time I come back now. So what we're gonna do is take the heavy statuette and destroy the suit of armor right here. We're gonna go ahead and take his sword. Let's go ahead and save it in case I miss for some reason. I probably won't miss, but there we go. Got it. And now we get the sword. The sword is a great weapon in this game. It's very powerful. It's got decent reach. It is fantastic. So you definitely want to get that sword. And you're going to need that sword to destroy a pirate in one of these upcoming rooms. So this is the kitchen over here. And you notice that I'm trying to run, but the double tap functionality is so busted in this game. It's definitely, again, my least favorite aspect of this version of the game. I'd really like to revisit this in a later Let's Play with the 3DO version. And we don't need the matchbox, but I went ahead and took that one anyway. So now if you don't have the sword right away, you can actually come on over to this cupboard and you can pick up some knives. So you can throw the knives if you want, or you can just use them you know, you can slice enemies with them, which is great. And we're going to come into this room right here. This is where the biscuits are. So we can actually eat the biscuits to get some health back. So we search this for the biscuits. And then we walk into this key to grab it. That's the basement key, I believe. But let's go ahead and eat the biscuits. So now we're at 42 hit points. That's a lot of hit points, actually. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the matchbox, actually. Because, again, I don't need it. We're going to throw the empty box as well. Now, that pot of soup I just grabbed. Now, sometimes the game becomes unresponsive after you come out of your menu. Just let it sit. And it will become responsive. You'll have to wait 5 or 6, 7 seconds, something like that. Trying to run. There we go. So once we come in here, we trigger a zombie. And so if I wanted to, I could use the, you know, the rifle. I'm going to save the rifle for later on in the game, though. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the sword. Let's go ahead and use the sword. I know the zombie's there, so I'm going to go ahead and just start attacking him. You can attack through walls in this game with physical weapons. Not bullets, but like swords, knives, things like that. You'll actually clip through the wall. So if there's an enemy on the other side of a door, or he's like on a corner right here, you can just attack them through the corner. So while the combat is definitely unpolished, there are a lot of things like that you can do to sort of mitigate the lack of polish. And so we're going to go ahead and open up the shoebox for the revolver here. And now we're going to go ahead and get rid of the shoebox. So let's just throw that. And we want that oil can. And then what we want to do is that jug we found earlier, we actually want to go ahead and fill that up with some water. So we use it on that barrel of water, and it fills it up. So I also want to go ahead and just use the oil can. You'll notice that my oil lamp is at, you know, it's got 50 points on its fuel. But if I use the oil can, it'll take it up to 100. So let's go back down. You notice that it's 100 now. So, you know, it's one of those things where you might as well just use it and then get rid of the can so it's not over encumbering you. And the empty box, I'm going to get rid of that as well. And I don't think there's anything else I really need to get rid of at the moment. So the chest key, I don't need that. So let's go ahead and get rid of that too. And this upcoming room, it's going to be a dining room full of zombies. Now, that pot of soup we picked up, who knows what's in it? It's the zombies actually like to eat it. So what we want to do is actually drop it here. So the pot of soup, drop. And when you drop it there, the zombies will no longer attack you. Now, they will attack you if you walk into their face kind of like this and, you know, you smack them with a sword. Just like that. But what's fun about this room is it can give you practice on killing zombies. So, you know, if you want some zombie killing practice, you can do that. Alright, so what I want to do is quickly rush into here, if I can. It's not going to let me. I'm really struggling with the run functionality, but this smoke here, we want to actually put it out with the water jug. So we just click use on the water jug. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Let's try that again. There we go. That was weird. It didn't work the first time. That's interesting. And because it didn't work the first time, I wonder if this is going to hurt me still. No, it's not. Okay, good. Alright, now we can go through this door. We are going to have to come back in here because there is a locked door in there. And that's going to lead us to the last part of the game. So what I want to do here is go ahead and equip my sword. And we're going to go ahead and come on through here. And there's a pirate here that we have to kill. So we want to use the regular sword on this. We do not want to use the cavalry sword, because if you do, it breaks. And then you kind of... I don't know if you can actually progress if the sword breaks. I don't think you can. Because it's a mandatory piece of the puzzle later on in the game. So there are ways in this game to kind of screw yourself over. And you really don't want to have that happen if you can avoid it. So when it makes those like sort of smacking sounds and you see the red particle effects, the blood effects, that means you're actually doing damage in this game. Now when you hear the clashes, it means you're not doing any damage. Let's go ahead and use the key that we just got. Now there's actually a book behind one of those canvases there. So again, if you're all about that lore, you definitely want to check that out. So there's a record right here. We actually don't need this. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it here. You do not want to touch these dancers. They will turn into indestructible enemies that'll just chase you around the mansion until you die. So what I want to do is actually come here and open up this door. And preferably I run into this room. So let's go ahead and save it. So let's try to run. There we go. And then I want to search right here. Just like that. 1, 2, 3. And then run out quickly. So these spiders appear and they'll gang up on you very quickly and kill you very, very quickly as well. And that silver key we got earlier actually will open up this door here. And we do need to make sure that this door is unlocked for later on in the playthrough, because we do have to come back up through the cellar here. So we basically go down into a cave system and then we work our way back into the cellar from a secret entrance. But I first want to come down here to grab these bullets. So we basically have revolver bullets. And then I just want to run back and avoid the rats. The rats will do damage to you, and just like the spiders, they can corner you. And when they corner you, they just do very, very rapid damage. And we're just walking up like so. Another good time to save. So let's go ahead and save again. Alright, so now what we need to do is go back upstairs. This is one of the only times in the game where you actually have to go backwards. The game is actually, interestingly, it's fairly linear in that you go from the top floor to the next floor to the next floor to the next floor. But this is the one moment where you have to actually go back upstairs. But the rest of the game is pretty much just, you know, push forward, push forward, push forward. I do like this game's relative simplicity compared to some other survival horror games. There's not a lot of backtracking in the game. Now, there is a lot of puzzle solving, but not a lot of backtracking, which is nice. At least when you know what you're doing. When you're, when you're playing it for the first time, you're probably gonna loop around in circles over and over again, trying to figure out what to do. So that old Indian cover we had earlier, we need to actually, did I seriously not get it? Or did I drop it somewhere? I seriously didn't do it. So that's actually really funny. I was just like, oh, you don't have to really go backwards, but you have to go backwards if you screw up like I just did. So we have to actually go back into the loft. Which, wow, I've never done that before. I've never not gotten the cover that I need, so let's go back upstairs. Yeah, so you notice that these gargoyles are completely gone now. And I don't think I can take the mirrors back either. And actually, what's kind of funny about this is I wonder if that zombie is still going to be there. So let's go ahead and come on. Yep, there he is. Let's see what he does. He's just programmed to go to that door. Okay, that's funny, man. Alright, let's see if we can actually attack him through the door with the sword. Alright, so let's go find the sword. Yep. And he's dead. This is the first time I've had to do this before. Come back up to the loft after I've already done all that other stuff. But that's great. I mean, we're still learning new things, which is interesting. Okay. So basically, this cabinet right here, we're supposed to open it, and I don't know why I completely forgot to open it. But we have to get this cover. There we go. And now we can go back. Now, since we're up here, this little horse, it'll actually start shaking on its own. A little spooky. And actually, it looks like it might be shaking because I'm walking into it. I thought it used to do it on its own as well, but maybe not. Alright, so we might as well save it. You know, since I had to backtrack so far. I'm trying to run here, and it's not letting me run. Okay, come in here. No more zombie. Poor zombies, they always get the short end of the stick. Okay, back downstairs. Alright, and back into that hallway. I'm trying to run. Again, running in the DOS version of the game is very, very difficult to do consistently. Let's go ahead and just leave that. So that big purple monster in there, you can't kill it. It only goes away after you beat the game. When you beat the game, pretty much all the monsters in the mansion disappear. So the old Indian cover, we just put it on top of that guy. If you walk too far into this hallway, it'll actually start throwing out projectiles and it'll kill you pretty much instantly. Let's go ahead and save it again. And what I want to do is, now that I've got arrows, I want to take the bow and I want to shoot the painting at the very end of the hallway. It'll shoot arrows out at me. So you have to make sure you're a good aim. And it looks like that might hit. Yep, it hit. Alright, so good. We're done with that. Let's go ahead and use the bullets. That reloads the revolver. And we're going to go ahead and just drop the arrows because we don't need them anymore. It's basically just get rid of that stuff that you don't need anymore. So we're going to throw the key to the dance hall. We don't need that. We don't need the key to the cellar anymore, so get rid of that. The jug we've already done, so let's get rid of that. And game just became unresponsive again. I can't move, so again, it'll let you move after a few seconds. I don't know why the game does that. It's just a bug or a glitch. And actually, I don't want to use that. I meant to actually throw that, so let's throw it. Right, move back a little bit. Let's see what else I've got here. Yep, and I don't need the bow anymore, so let's get rid of the bow. Now, if I wanted to, I could use it as a weapon, but there aren't actually like a ton of enemies that you have to kill in this game. So the amount of ammunition you get is, there we go. It's trying to run. Yeah, the amount of ammunition you get is actually more than enough to deal with all the enemies in the game. But what's great about this, as opposed to your typical survival horror game, is that you do get melee combat. You know, you can punch, you can kick. You can get knives and swords and all sorts of stuff. That's why I really enjoy the combat system in this game, because it's not just load up a pistol or a shotgun or something like that. It's, you know, you have a lot more flexibility. You can take leftover items. I can throw the gramophone at enemies and it actually does damage. Like, that's how flexible this system is. So let's go ahead and open and search this little cubby here for the key. We don't need the parchment. But we did get that, I think it's like a false book. It doesn't really have anything in it. But we're going to use that false book in this library coming up here shortly. And by shortly, I mean right now. So the library, the lights are off. And so what you need to do is use your lighter or a matchbox and light your lamp. Now, the thing here is what you want to do is actually just drop your lamp on the floor. Just to make life a lot easier. And then we're going to come around this way. There's this enemy here called the Vagabond, or the Vagabond, or however you pronounce it. It can't be destroyed yet, but we're going to get ourselves a knife in here, or a dagger, that will allow us to kill him. So there's an open slot there on the right-hand side, and we insert that fake book into this to open up this secret. And we need the talisman for the very end of the game. It's very important. And we're going to go ahead and search this as well. So we need this sort of squiggly dagger. And we've got other daggers as well. We don't need those. We don't need the parchments. We don't need the book. This yellow book, if you read it, I think it kills you. So if you want to see what's inside of it, make sure you save your game before touching it. And speaking of saving my game, I'm going to go ahead and use the dagger. And I'm also going to save my game. So now we come back out here. We can destroy the Vagabond. And I'm going to go ahead and just... It kind of just homes in on you. Kind of like Doom enemies. It just, you know... It knows where you are and it just like goes straight towards you. It just walks straight towards you. It's not very complicated. So now I'm actually... I don't need this weapon anymore. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's go ahead and just walk backwards. Because I struggle with the run functionality in this game. So sometimes it's easier just to walk backwards instead of just trying to run. So we'll just walk backwards this way. Now you definitely want to pick up your lamp again because it's important for other parts of the playthrough. There's a dark maze later on in the game. You pretty much need the lamp to get through it. So you definitely want to pick that up. But as you're holding it like this, it's burning up oil. So it's not burning a lot. It's at 94, but I'd like to save as much as I can. So to unequip it, you just go back to open search or fight or something like that. And I'm really struggling with the running in this game. I'm really fighting with it. There we go. Got it. Whew. There are parts in the game where you do have to run, by the way. So running is mandatory at certain parts of the game. Like a bridge we're going to come up on shortly. Let's go ahead and use the key here, this gold key. And so that old cavalry sword, what we want to do is actually just drop it right here. So let's go down and drop it. And it opens up that cellar passage. But we also want to search this bookshelf. And that gives us a record. And we need to actually play this record on the gramophone in the dance hall. And by doing that, you'll actually get the dancers to move. Now, you don't want to touch the dancers still because they'll turn into this sort of specter that'll just chase you around. And it won't stop until you're dead. Let's go ahead and save it. Now, once they start dancing, it's very random. Their patterns are very random. So, I'm going to try to just... Yeah, it's very random. So this guy's kind of blocking me. Hopefully they just keep moving. Yeah, and they're too close to the fireplace. But you need to get this key. And now let's just walk backwards. Get out of here. And once you get the key and you exit the room, they disappear. You can hear them. You hear that that thunder sound. There we go. Got the run function. And we're pretty much done with the mansion itself. There's not really anything else to do now. So now we go underneath the mansion. Alright, so what I want to do here is go ahead and drop some stuff in this hallway just to get rid of it. So hit the enter key to bring it up. So I need that key. I need the talisman. I don't need this key, so we can get rid of that. And I do need the lighter. And yeah, we're actually pretty thin. We're pretty light on items, which is good. So what I'm going to do is actually load up my revolver because there's an enemy that I want to shoot with it. So let's go ahead and save our game and then see if we can... Oops. I was going to say see if we can run. There we go. So we have to run across this bridge because as you can see, it falls apart. And if you fall down there, you will die. Now this is a really kind of annoying part. There's another one of those dog-like monster creatures down here. And they're very aggressive. Now you want to make sure you're running though, because this worm thing will kill you if it touches you. It's pretty much an instant kill. So I'm going to go ahead and use my pistol. There we go. Just like that. We kill it in 2 shots. I've gotten ganged up by that guy so many times on this part. It's very frustrating. And now what we want to do is we want to actually just sit right here. Because if you run around too quickly, you'll find that the worm actually blocks you. So if I come here, let's see what he does. And there he is. Okay, good. That's the position I want him in. And he'll sort of move forward a little bit. Just like that. And he'll just stay there. But don't get up in his face. Now, the cellar that we were in earlier, the wine cellar, there's actually a hidden passageway. And when you go in that hidden passage, it'll take you to the caves. And that worm will be at the end. And it'll kill you instantly. So this is a little weird. The camera switches to that perspective, which is odd. But you need to come here. If you see that perspective where it's on the worm, hold backwards so you can just walk backwards immediately. Alright, so I don't need the pistol anymore. What I want to do is actually use the jump functionality. Let's see if we can run. There's going to be a swamp creature down here. And what I want to do is actually jump across this. Because it falls and you'll go into the water. And when you go into the water, your lamp goes out. I believe your lamp goes out. Your rifle becomes useless because the shells get wet. And so it keeps you from being able to use certain weapons. And, you know, I'd really like to use the rifle down here, actually. It's very handy for this spider creature. It's like a spider rat, almost. So let's go ahead and use the rifle here. Hold down the space key, and then press forward to shoot. You can see I'm still doing damage. Oh, it looks like it only takes 2 hits. I thought it took 3. Okay, very cool. Now down here we can actually continue using the rifle on some flying enemies. This guy right here. So I'm going to do just that. And I missed. I got him that time though. Now the rifle does have kickback, which is interesting. So it's kicking me back to the camera change. Now another strategy here is to just use your sword. Ooh, got him. That was a good shot. Wow. That was a good shot. Alright, so now we have to jump across these pillars. So you hold on the space key, press forward. It's actually not nearly as hard as it looks. But if you want to, you can save it after every jump. You can do what we do in Doom. Save scumming. That's what they call it in the Doom community. So, there we go. And last one. Got it. I'm trying to run. There we go. It's very, very difficult to run. Very, very difficult. Alright, so there's going to be a split path here. We want to take the top path. If you take the bottom one, it just leads you to a big spider enemy and a dead end. There's nothing down there aside from that. So, we're just going to skip it completely. Alright, and what we want to do is actually run across, because some of these platforms will fall as well. And there's another one of those flying enemies. He's actually higher up, so he's not going to hit me from here. So I want to run across like so. And there we go. So when you walk towards ledges like that, Carnby automatically just climbs up on his own. And we want to run across this one, and let's go ahead and use the sword on this guy. So he's going to come after us. We can just smack him like that. We just hold down the attack button like so. There we go. Pretty safe. Not very dangerous. Okay, and we're gonna fall down here. The perspective here is not the best. It's probably one of the worst perspectives in the game. I like the look of it, but when it comes to the actual gameplay, it's a little hairy. And we just climb on up here. So these ones actually won't fall down. So you don't actually have to run across them. If you're running, you'll find that it's easy to slip off the platforms. So it's nice to be able to just take this part nice and slow because of the camera perspective. So we're actually almost at the end of the game already. And we've been playing for about 40 minutes now. So this is pretty much the lead up to the end of the game. So for that key we got, we're going to go ahead and use it here. And take the gem. We don't need the book, but again, if you're into that lore, then you want to keep it and read it. So we can throw the key. We don't need that anymore. And, I mean, I don't even really need the rifle anymore either, so I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of it. I love how kind of like archaic this is in certain ways. Like, you throw items across the screen and they don't spin around or anything. They just, you know... It's just great. It's janky, but it's great. Alright, so we're going to push this rock aside. Looks like a very, very heavy rock, but Carnby just, you know, he just pushes it like it's nothing. Okay, and this is pretty much the lead up to the end of the game. So we just fall down here like so. And this is where we need our lantern. This cave system right here is completely pitch black. And so let's go ahead and use our lamp. And it is a maze. Everyone's favorite kind of thing. But it's actually pretty easy to figure out. As long as you've got enough fuel in your lamp, you should be good here. But this is the solution. You just kind of run up this way, loop around, just like so. Listen to Carnby's very echoey shoes, footsteps. Alright, so we're gonna have to actually come straight down, like so, onto the next screen. There are a bunch of screens here. And then we can come down here, and then move on this way. Come on down here, and this is the last stretch. Alright, so that gem that we got, we want to use that on this door. There's a slot just for this gem. And then this takes us to the final room. And so what I want to do is start running, if the game lets me. The game's not letting me run. It's very, very frustrating. It's the most frustrating aspect of this game. The running is just so bad. I have a feeling it's kind of linked to the CPU cycles. I bet if you're playing this on like an old 386 computer, it's probably a lot easier to run. But I remember playing this on my Pentium back in the day and having the exact same problems with running. And lowering the CPU cycles in DOSBox did help. Alright, so what we need to do is take that talisman, and then we need to drop it here. And I'm getting caught up by this guy. Let's see if we can just walk away. That's one of the problems with this game too, is that guy can actually just... you drop the talisman, you go into a bit of a cutscene, and then the guy still creeps up on you and hits you. So now, this is a little cryptic. You want to throw the lamp at this tree, and then that ends the game. And now what we have to do is exit. Now, you do get hurt by those rocks that fall on you. So, ideally you run, if the game lets you. And we can actually exit through here. So that hook that we got there, it actually opens up these last couple of doors. Alright, so we take the hook, and we use it. And since we threw the lamp, we actually don't have it anymore, and any place in the game that was dark is now lit up because you don't have the lamp. And again, we use the hook on the door. And what we want to do is actually come back down here, just like so. Now, there aren't any more enemies. All the enemies have gone away, so I don't care about falling into the water here. I don't care about damaging anything because we don't need anything anymore. And the giant worm is also gone. So basically we destroyed the source of, you know, all the evil in this place. And this is the part that leads us back to the cellar, the wine cellar. And if for some reason you got yourself stuck early on in the game and you need to go back into the mansion itself, you can come back in here as long as the worm has moved out of the hole. And this is why I didn't come down here earlier, is normally you can come down here and move the barrels manually, but if you know, go and beat the game, they'll actually move on their own when you come back, which is interesting. So you actually don't need to move them in the beginning parts of the game. There's a little wood block that keeps them stopped in place, and it's it's obviously was intended for you to move it and move the barrels manually, but it doesn't actually work like that. You don't have to do that. And here we go. So this is it. And there we go, guys. We just beat Alone in the Dark for PC, the MS-DOS version. Great game. Glad I finally got this Let's Play knocked out. I haven't beaten the game in a long time up until this past week where I started to relearn it. And yeah, it's a good time. It's a great game. It's a classic. It's definitely a seminal MS-DOS release. Definitely a must-play if you guys are into spooky action-adventure games with puzzle elements. But yeah. Twist. That's it. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to share them down below. For those of you guys maybe trying to learn this game, hopefully, you know, you learned something here. Even if you already know what to do, maybe you picked up on a few, you know, fun tricks that you can apply to your playthroughs, and so on and so forth. So, but yeah, not much else to say, guys. If you haven't played this before, I definitely recommend checking it out, either on 3DO or getting the PC version through GOG. I think it's also on Steam, but I'd recommend the GOG version since, you know, DRM free. You can install it wherever you want. Yeah, you get the CD music on this one. Not sure about the Steam version, if that one has the CD soundtrack, but I'll have to fire that up and see what it gives you. So, but yeah, check it out if you haven't played it before, and if you have played it and you're just watching, hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you enjoyed the playthrough. So, but alrighty, guys, that's it. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I got a lot of Let's Plays here, and many more to come. For all you already subbed, thank you for your continued support, and I hope you guys continue to enjoy these videos. So, but with that, guys, I'm out, and until the next one, take it easy.